If you're doing between 250,000 and a few million per year, there is a chance that most of your business comes from referrals. And referrals are great until they're not predictable. So the real question is, how do you close $100,000 retainers from people who don't know you? So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to break down the exact funnel that I use to take cold traffic and how we use various things like VSLs, follow-ups, qualifications, lots of retargeting to take cold strangers into high ticket clients. This is not theory, this is the structure, and let's break it down. So at the very top here, I wanted to point out that we do not rely on a singular channel in order to generate traffic. We use paid and we use outbound. And I've put it in order here for us as to most effective over the years and where I've spent the majority of our money. And right at the top here, we have Facebook and Instagram. Meta as it is now in 2026. And it's really funny when I talk to a lot of people in the B2B space where they think that B2B ads don't belong on this platform. And I promise you that your ideal client profile is hanging out there. It's just how you're reaching them and the messaging that you're putting out there to catch them when they're doing their mindless scrolling. So do not leave those platforms out when you're considering running traffic for any of your high ticket offers for a B2B sales process. And then, of course, we have LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn. We do a lot of thought leadership ads. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually see who sees your ad, which of the companies have seen your ad. We know that we can see when somebody likes or comments or engages with an ad, but no other platform allows us to have a list of companies that have taken and engaged. So just seen it, it's passed their way. So that's what really cool, because you can run the same outbound strategies that we do on LinkedIn to anybody who's shown any of that impressions on your ad. It just becomes that much more effective. Then of course we have Reddit. Lots of cool stuff happening with Reddit. Not a lot of people are using that as a platform, so definitely include that as part of your strategy. And then of course Google AdWords. That's been around for a long time. I don't need to tell you too much about that. And then for outbound, we love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best outbound channel besides cold calling. I think I have they're kind of side by side. I think the big difference between something like LinkedIn and cold calling is that cold calling just requires a lot more skill, requires a lot more bandwidth, a lot more setup, versus if you just focus on LinkedIn being the relationship builder tool that it is, you too will find that it's actually pretty easy to get deals off of LinkedIn. So we run it all over to a application style booking page. Our booking pages are all built with conversion style copy that match the exact avatar that we are trying to target. The messaging digs real deep on how they talk, the jargon that they use, how they describe their problems, and trying to find a way to position it differently than everything else that they've seen in the marketplace. And every time we go to attack a new avatar, we change the copy. Everything else stays the same, but the copy will change. So take that as a tidbit or not. But either way, what happens is when somebody comes in and they book, we push them 3 days out. Okay, we don't like to have anybody be able to see an ad and book in later that day. That's probably very different than other gurus of what you've heard online, but I'm going to show you all the things that we do to warm somebody up before they even take a call with me. Because the worst thing I hate hearing from me or my team is, who are you? What is this? I don't remember booking it. What have you done? Da 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 da. That I want that person coming on the call as if it were a referral lead. I want all that trust gathered up and ready for me when they hop on the call with me. So that's why we push them out 3 days. On that same booking page, we will have a VSL, also known as a video sales letter. If this is the first time hearing this word, it's really just a way to take the same copy that you have on your landing page and apply it in a video format, because it's good to have different mediums for people to take them through what your messaging is. And then we like to have a little bit, tiny little bit of an application. We want to start getting more information about our prospects. Always collect a name, email, and phone number. If the prospect does not want to answer that, then I don't want you in my funnel because you're probably not very serious about solving the problem that you have. So again, don't let the gurus tell you that you should just be collecting name and an email to allow somebody to go straight into a booked call. Sometimes too, by just a few answers that I'll get in there, I can tell right away, we go when we find their LinkedIn, I'll show you in a minute here, that this is not somebody that we can help and we won't keep the appointment. So down here, once they have officially booked the call, it runs to a thank you page. Your thank you page is like a huge place for you to get a lot of wins for your sales base. The first one being, especially when you are in a B2B sales process, that you have the LinkedIn profile of the sales rep, of the founder, of whomever they're going to be taking the sales process with, you have a nice big call to action to get them to go and connect with that person on LinkedIn. Now, I'm going to show you down here in a little bit what we will do if they don't send a connection request to me. But I like them having it incoming. Number one, it's good for my social index selling score. LinkedIn really likes to see that I have lots of incoming connection requests. They think that I am somebody of importance. And so it'll naturally raise that SSI score. For those who don't know, your ability for how much outreach you can do in the platform is very dependent upon what your SSI score is at. So I like to keep that nice and healthy. I like to not have to use up one of my valuable 40 connection requests per day that I'm allowed on the platform. So I like to have that incoming. So that's number one, is the call to action I'm asking there. The second call to action is for get them to do additional homework. This is where you can include a second VSL. This is where you can include having them do some homework. For this here, 15 question application is really big. If you are doing any sort of offer that requires you to come prepared and ready, and you really want to know if this is going to be a good fit, throw it in there. I like having people go through and do a little bit of homework because it shows me how serious they are about working with us and allows me to build further trust. So that's what we do to get a booked call in the door. Just for some perspective over here, if you're wondering about costs or if this is a new world to you, we're happy to pay upwards of $500 for a qualified booked call from Facebook. It's much cheaper when you do outbound. Obviously, we do outbound, so my costs are different than what I would charge my clients when we do outbound for them. But having said that, even for what they pay us to do the outbound, it's still drastically cheaper than running ads. The difference is there's only so much you can do with outbound until you start spinning up all types of email inboxes, spinning up all types of LinkedIn profiles, lots and lots of setters on the call. So you can start to see where scale becomes an issue versus like over here, you can just spend more money. So we're okay to spend more when scale means that, there's just a smaller lever to pull with a much bigger impact of what it can bring in. All right, so now the appointment has been booked. This is where the magic happens. This is where the majority of the world just kind of stops. They don't put any of these things into play. So if you even do just 20% of what I show you today, you're going to be well ahead of your competition. So to start us off over here on the left-hand side, we have a make integration, also known as, like, if you use N8N or if you use Zapier, it's just a way that you can have two systems, multiple systems talking to each other and running automations for you. So we run an automation that has it coming into our Slack channel. It will tag whoever the salesperson is going to be taking for that call, and it's going to tag one of our assistants. And the assistant's job is to go and find their LinkedIn profile and make a connection request on our behalf. So on the salesperson's behalf, if the incoming connection request has not been noted. You can technically use something like Phantom Buster to automate this. We've just found that Phantom Buster tends to fail about 80% of the time. And so I like to have a real human being going in and finding that person. Once it comes in here, and we've made the connection request, there is a special thing that happens on LinkedIn. And this is why, even if you're not running an outbound strategy and you're purely using something like email or using paid ads to book discovery calls with your ICP, having this workflow is incredibly, incredibly potent. Because what happens is LinkedIn is going to recognize that there is a relationship that's being started between the two of you. So now any content or commenting that you are doing on the platform, they're going to be seeing your name more and more and more. The content is one of the most important things that you need to be included as part of this process, because to gain the face time, so it can be in the form of watching our VSLs, seeing our retargeting ads, getting our emails, getting our text messages, all of those different components there. That is face-to-face time. That's also known as the ZMOT, the zero moment of truth, where Google has done a ton. We just really do need a ton of touch points in order to gain trust with somebody. So again, we want that person primed and ready to get on the call. So the content that we put out on the platform, and what we always recommend to our clients, is over here on the left-hand side. So COI stands for cost of inaction. We need to show the urgency as to what happens if they do not utilize our products and services today. And I'm not talking fake urgency where I only have 4 spots left, our prices are changing, that fake stuff that you see online. I'm talking about showing what happens when they delay taking you up on your offers for your products and services. So you have to figure out what that looks like. What is the cost of inaction of your ideal client personas when they don't utilize that? And that has to be in all of your content. And then of course too, we cover sales objections that tend to come up throughout the sales process. We like to talk about the outcomes that we drive for our clients. And then we like to provide proof, lots of testimonials, lots of stories about what they were thinking, where they are now, what the life looks like, what's the transformation that we brought for our clients. That's what makes up the buckets of our content. Not a content pillar, not looking at all these different ways to have a series that comes through. We just keep it really, really simple. And I have found that to be a strategy that works incredibly well and keeps everything nice, neat, and organized, and allows me to easily execute to ensure that I'm showing up on that platform almost every single day. All right, so that's the first piece there. Kathleen, our wonderful assistant, has gone in. She's made a connection request. And because down here, once the connection request goes through, I will have myself or I will have the sales rep get on a personal phone, sign into the app, send a personalized video. We'll go over to the profile. We'll read through the application that we've gotten for the preliminary questions, and we'll give a little bit of, of an understanding that we understand that this is where they're at, this is where they're trying to go, and this is what we're going to be covering on the call, and try to hook them in so that they are excited to attend that call, that there's going to be a piece of information that you're going to share with them on the call. Give them reason, give them FOMO if they don't show up to that call. Because again, we want to keep those no-show rates down, those cancellation rates down. And then of course too, down here, call within 5 minutes. I didn't show it here, but we actually, our integration as of today will show the phone number. I just didn't want to show in this video for privacy reasons, but we will have it be that we want to call that lead within 5 minutes of it booking. So again, the sales rep, whoever's going to take that call, we try to have them, or it could be a setter, but somebody from the company has to call that lead straight away. Again, so they have familiarity, and we're building that human-to-human connection. All right, so most people have an automated email flow that reminds them of the upcoming call, has a Zoom link in it, but it's what we do different, which is what allows us to win so well with this cold traffic. And so inside of our emails and our SMS flows is very tuned into the messaging of getting somebody introduced to our brand. So number one, we like to create a lot of video, sure, as you can see. And the video is actually hosted on landing pages right inside of our CRM, so we can track their actions. So what this allows us to do is that we can see how much they're actually educating themselves throughout the process. So by the time the call comes, I can see all the history and what they've done and the actions that they've taken to understand how serious is this person about working with us. Because if I don't have any trust with a prospect, I'm not making an offer for them to come on board with us because they're not ready. So we like to handle that pretty delicately. And I can do that because of the videos that we send through a landing page that's hosted within our CRM. And I can track the actions of when they watch the videos, how much they watch the videos, when they click over and do all those beautiful things. We also like to remind them that if they've yet to fill out the application form, that now is a good time to do that. And then sending them back over to our YouTube channel. If I can get a B2B view, that's worth crazy amounts. And again, we make YouTube content not for the virality, not for the engagement, but it is a conversion mechanism for us. It allows me to get more face-to-face time with people. Send them the Zoom reminder so that they have it. As we come over here, retargeting is a big part of what we do. So I will make another video for another day to show off exactly what we do, because we make sure that when we put a video in, that they will see that video and then they'll be excluded from the next audience and then see that video and then et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of forces the hand of Meta to get those videos out. So the minute that somebody books a call, they automatically go into a retargeting audience that is going to cover the biggest false beliefs and sales objections that tend to come up during our sales process. More FaceTime, and you will see that it is all me. Now, our facing ads to get them to book the appointment don't always include me or the salesperson that's going to be taking the calls, but the retargeting does, because the retargeting, again, is to get that face-to-face time to build that human connection. So when they get on the call, they don't think, well, who are you? Kara, I don't remember booking this call. They will remember me. So doing some retargeting is a big, big part of our strategy. I really, really implore you that even if you're not running paid media to book the call, whatever you are doing, just even spending $5 a day and setting this up will have a huge return for you beyond anything else that you could do possibly with your funnel. So highly, highly recommend that. So what happens is once somebody gets on that call, we usually like to book them into that first introductory call. It can be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, no more. Asking people to book more than that for the first time of meeting with you is a big ask. Also, if they're not a fit, you just blocked out a lot of time to spend with somebody that's not somebody that you might be able to help. So that's why I like to keep it on the lower side. Once I get on that call, this is my opportunity just to ask a few quick questions to make sure that booking a next call would make sense. And the make sense part usually comes from things like, is this a problem that they are trying to solve today? Is this an immediate thing that they are looking for to be solved? And then B, if we are to book the next call, who are some of the other decision makers that we need to be considered as part of this process? Because I'm not going to book those next call if it's not an immediate thing today and we don't have all decision makers on the call. Just a waste of everybody's time. So when I will write on the call, I will book that call. By booking that call, my CRM puts them into a new flow. Now is the time where the email series is going to start introducing them to the various case studies and things that we have been doing with our clients. Notice how I haven't mentioned a case study yet or a testimonial yet until this point, because they're typically not ready to hear it. Even really, I like this better at the lower end once they've gone through a full demo with us and they really understand what it is that we do. So I like to mix this up again with more conversion copy, talking about some of their false beliefs, some of the sales objections that we know that are already going to come up is really what we put inside our email and SMS campaigns. And then they go into a new retargeting audience. So once they have gone into booking a strategy call or a demo call, that's that 1 hour long call. And this is now where they're going to see a whole new set of videos, and it's just client testimonials. It's just clients talking about all the results that we got for them and how great it is to work with us. So the same sort of strategy where we force the hand of Meta to ensure that they see all of these videos, but highly, highly recommend that you set up these style of campaigns. Once the full strategy call is happening, this is where I will typically spend 45 minutes during asking questions. I have to know everything about them, about what they've tried, about where they're trying to go, what's going to happen if we don't fix this today, in order to properly position my solution as the answer, to make sure that my solution would actually be, in fact, the answer. So that's why I spend about 45 minutes of that 60-minute time just gathering information. From there, then I'll spend maybe 5 to 7 minutes actually pitching the product and then talking a little bit about pricing and then leaving some time for any sort of objection handling that I need to handle. When I'm on that call and we know that we've made an offer and we're going to continue to push this sales process along, I book them in for a third call. You can call this the closing call. You can call this the enrollment call it whatever you like. That's what I do, is I book them in for a third step, because what that allows me to do is further automate my sales process and get more face-to-face time. So if we look over here, the first thing that I will do in the email is I will send them a full product demo. This is anywhere from 30 minutes up to an hour long interactive way to take more steps with understanding what it is that we're doing. So whether it's a software, whether it's a service, I like to have a full explanation, because you'll notice that I said in the original call that we had for that 1 hour, I only spent 5 to 7 minutes actually demoing the product itself. And that is because nobody wants to sit and listen to a sales rep just go on and on and on. So what I like to do is do something that's interactive, something that allows them to skip around and figure out what is actually best for them and consume as little or as much as they want about the product. That during my original pitch, during that 7 minutes, I only hit on the points that I knew that was going to be important to that prospect. I didn't really need to talk about anything else. But if they have more information that they need to gather, this is where they can get it from. So I will cover that there. Then in the second email, I'm going to send the contract so I can actually automate this. There's lots of platforms out there that allow you just to completely automate this process, but that way they have all the details about what this proposal is going to look like should our two parties come together. And then another email, I like to do another interactive way to send different FAQ videos. So all the things that they will typically have questions around, I like to handle it through written and email form. There's something really important here that I want you to see that I didn't really touch on. Every time that we have one of these landing pages, it's a chance for me to show off more testimonials and more things that we have done with our clients. So I'm just trying to really build up as much trust as possible. And then of course, the last email is to send over the Zoom details. Now, keep in mind that that audience will stay in the same retargeting campaign. So this means they're going to continue to get hit with all of my client case studies, all the things that everybody said about the work that I have done with them. And then the last piece here is we book them into their next call. They've been booked into that closing call that can be anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes long. They already have the contract in front of them, and we get them to sign it and move on and book their onboarding call. So there's a lot going on here. And so I will say, if there's one thing that you do today, it would really be to focus on these pieces here. 100%, what you do with sending the contracts and sending the case studies and putting them into retargeting audiences that show off your client testimonials are a big part. But if you can nail this part here, where you can get at least a few hours of face-to-face time with them before they've even jumped on a call with you, the sales process is so much smoother. Because what happens is when you don't have this and the prospects get on the call with us and they come in cold and there's zero trust built there, excuse me, their spam filter is at an all-time high. Like, I'm talking fight or flight response is 100% engaged. Nobody loves to be sold to, and that's how they come in feeling. Versus if they come in understanding who you are, what you represent, how you help them, and the outcomes that you can drive, it's a much smoother, cleaner conversation. So if you like that, or if you want to see more ways, or if you have questions about your own funnel, be sure to drop me a comment down below. Of course, don't forget to like and hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.